short road trip, like 20-mile road trip, to pick up another console color television. This one is sort of different. I got a message from somebody out of state, and they had located a TV they want on Craigslist. And they just sort of, I don't know if I had contact with this person before, but they just sort of asked me out of the blue, will you go get this TV and hold on to it until I can get it U-shipped? And I know I did this for Jeffrey. I went and picked up a CT100, but Jeffrey is very well known in the vintage TV community, a lot of mutual friends, deals with the museum, all of that stuff. So this was just a totally like random anon. What do we got? A fire here? We got smoke. See that? Smoke. Probably another pallet fire. Boy, that stinks. Homeless encampment flavor. Homeless encampment scent candle. Wow, that's pretty harsh, actually. Anyway, yeah, so rolling out to pick up this TV, totally anon hookup. The person that contacted me said they're gonna get U-shipped to pick it up because they have another. Wow, that stinks. Boy, that's a lingering. Anyway, let's just pick it up, see what we got. We'll do a video on it. Hey, it's in South Central. That's pretty cool. So, what kind of like lawlessness is this? Is that the license plate right there? I mean, I guess. If it's under a certain number of cc's, you don't have to have a... God, that sounds like it's got a 4-stroke motorcycle engine.
In 800 feet, make a U-turn and watch your speed.
That is not under the amount of cc's to need a motorcycle license, okay?
Make a U-turn.
So it works.
19, what do you say?
56.
1956. O'Keefe and Merritt gas stove.
Yep. On Craigslist,
It's a great shape.
Yeah, it's in good shape. Look under O'Keefe and Merritt.
Right.
Or it's under appliances, I believe, or antiques. One or the other, because sometimes they have, different selections. Blinds. I've got a lot of plastic laminate. Computer stuff, you need that? That's very inexpensive if you want that.
I'm not really into old computers very much. I don't know what I'm looking at.
Right. Well,
other than it's turning yellow because it's cool.
That's always been the color, that. But this is basically just an old monitor. This is IBM kind of like type of a thing.
I don't know what you want for it.
$50? Is that?
To the right person, but I'm not the right person.
Okay. All right. Well,
just to be completely honest.
Yeah.
1973 Zenith Chromacolor color console television. This is what I just picked up. The whole thing was very awkward. I don't know, very awkward situation, the whole acquisition of this TV, but let's just ignore that and dig into it. I'm using a different camera on this one. It might be a little bit more shaky, but let's see how the image of this looks. But hey, it's in 60 frames per second, so even if it's a little bit more shaky, it should be smooth and shaky, right? Let's see, this looks entirely too replacement-y. Solid state, no tubes in this one. This one is not a 4-tube hybrid. I believe this uses the old style chassis along the bottom that's generally regarded as one of the best Zenith chassis ever made. This is when the cabinets really started to go downhill. This is all plastic. This is all plastic. It's all fake. This is particle board, and you can see whatever veneer or photo finish they used on this, they tried to make it look like 4 separate sheets of wood, but it's not. It's fake. I believe this used the black matrix tube, which it did. I don't know if this camera will focus on this, which I don't think it will, but anyway, if you don't know what a black matrix CRT is, there's a little black ring around each phosphor dot. Was supposed to help the contrast and overall picture. I think it did. They do look better. The gentleman that I picked this up from said that this was his TV when he was a kid, that he watched cartoons on this as a kid. It seems a little bit strange to me because this is basically the same era set I would have grown up with, and yet he looked quite a bit older than me. Maybe that's just my own perception. I don't know. Not a lot of wear here. Not a lot of wear. I've been very gentle with this, even though it's not in great condition. You can always kind of tell if these were opened up a billion times by how much wear there is. So there it is. It's all solid state. You can see here they were hanging on to the tube era a little bit, the classic Zenith design. Delta gun CRT with the old style convergence. Looks like the original tube. I think these lasted a long time. It is a 25 DC 56. So yes, this is a very desirable chassis. Kind of old style tuner, old style ratchet tuner. These transformers are interesting. This oil capacitor right here works with that, and I don't understand how it works. Someone could probably explain it. It's like a constant power, self-regulating transformer, or that capacitor's power factor correction. I don't know, but I know if the capacitor goes bad, the B plus in the set will drop substantially. So it's all modular. There's the IF. That one standing up is the sound. That IC will fail quite often. Changed a bunch of those. It's a Texas Instruments part, but it's got a Zenith part number on it, so it's original. Chroma and video modules. And then your CRT drive over here, that's your color with the crystal on it. I don't know. These are not my... It's got to be your vertical module. That back there is probably, that one in there is probably your horizontal. Flyback. The triplers do fail in these. I have a whole bunch of those triplers somewhere. Big box of them. I believe these safety capacitors are an issue here. See these two capacitors that are very dirty? I don't know if this is the set, but on some of these, those capacitors fail and the high voltage just runs away. and it'll break the CRT and all kinds of stuff. Horizontal output transistor, focus divider resistor, that tube thing standing up. This looks sort of high hour. See, that plastic is turning back into oil and kind of melting all over the back of the tube. See, where are our screens set? It's about halfway. That one's about halfway. That one's about, I don't know, 5/8. I think we can check the tube. I'm a little bit reluctant to turn this on. I might need to consult one of the experts on these sets. So looking in here, you can't really see too much as far as discoloration. It's really not that kind of. Really not that kind of CRT, so we'll just have to rely on the tester. This is a 25 VBQP22. I believe these are what are referred to as the critical safety capacitors. And they go between the emitter and collector on the horizontal output transistor. If they go bad, the high voltage just runs away and basically destroys the CRT. I'm reluctant to power this up with those in it. I need to do some research. There is an updated kit. I believe I actually have one of the kits. It replaces it with a big orange drop with 4 legs coming out of it. Yeah, that's a little bit concerning for it to have those old school non-updated capacitors. There was some discussion on the last analysis video whether this CRT tester was acting up, so I don't know. We'll see how it behaves on this one. Huh. We'll let it warm up for a minute. So some of the feedback I've gotten already is that this is an instant on set, and yes, the safety capacitors present the hazard or pose the hazard that I acknowledged. So that makes me very, very reluctant to turn this on. This would actually produce an okay picture. This tester is pretty finicky. So I'm going to let it cook for a while. And I'm going to go dig that capacitor out so I can show everybody what it looks like, and then I'll be back. So here's the critical safety capacitor, the upgrade kit. And you can see it talks about it in here. And I also got the SAMs here for it. We'll take a look at that in a minute. It's been sitting while I went and dug that stuff out, probably about 5 minutes. So let's see what we get here. Oh yeah. Yeah, this is in decent shape. Yep, this tube is in decent shape. And this matches what we saw downstairs, which was the green was up about, I don't know, a quarter turn more than the other ones. So tube is okay. CRT is fine. That CRT would produce a good picture. Definitely not something we want to break the neck off of with a careless startup. So there's your horizontal output transistor right there. And there are the 3 capacitors. C265, 67, and 68. And those are the capacitors. You can see emitters tied to ground, and the capacitors basically go from collector to ground, so the capacitors are essentially tied from collector to emitter. Those are what hold the high voltage under control. We come over here and we look at this, and those are those capacitors that are the old school white Elminco type. I am not going to power this up with those capacitors in it. And actually, I don't believe this is the right capacitor, because these here say 0.0018, and this is a 0.00, no, this is a 0.015, and these are 0.0018. Still need to do research. So on this capacitor deal, right there is a 3.5 microfarad capacitor, and you can see it has its own winding on top of the transformer, and then it basically parallels the whole stack, but it's got its own little winding above. Actually, it's not little, is it? It goes from 125 to 300 VAC. Damn. I think I'm going to take a little bit of a different step with this video. This whole video has been different anyway from the inception of picking this thing up for some random person in a different state. I'm going to get Al on the phone. Al is a veteran, retired TV repair. And he sort of told me the same thing Jordan Peer did. I sent Jordan Peer a message, and he's like, yeah, safety capacitors, instant on, be careful with it. So see if we can get him on the phone here and do a phone interview in this video. Okay, it's the next day, which could end up being yesterday or tomorrow, depending on how you look at the video. And I'm going to switch things up a little bit because I've acquired a bunch of information. I'm going to move the little phone interview with Al forward more towards the end. And I want to start off by saying that there's nothing wrong with not knowing everything. There's so many of these different sets, you couldn't possibly know all the little quirks. You just have to know the basics. And you have to be patient and communicate with others and use the knowledge base for more specific information. You know, with the web now, we have the ability to really use that as a resource to look up specific stuff, and we don't need to know every little thing. So I've consulted with and got good information from several people that are much more familiar with this set and this era of set. Doug Harlan posted a video on this years ago, like 8 or 10 years ago, on a tabletop model of this, DRH, I forget his YouTube channel, everyone should be familiar with him. And he actually found one of those capacitors that was shorted. I don't want to spoil the video, it's a pretty interesting video. But he removes it, and yeah, the high voltage spikes up ridiculously high. You can see it arcing all over the place. So I've also got a lot of other information. I'm taking it all into account. I spoke with the person I picked the set up for, and they're in favor of go ahead and power it up and see what it does. Well, I think sort of a compromise here is to test those capacitors. Now those capacitors are cheap. You can get the Panasonic ones on DigiKey. They're like 82 cents a piece. They're cheap. So the deal is powering this thing up today, because I got to put this thing on a U-ship. Not having time to order the capacitors. So I think an honest compromise is to dig back into this. There are 3 of those capacitors. We'll dig into this and we'll test them. We have the equipment to test them. And if it looks good, then we'll power it up. You really don't want to power these things up on reduced voltage. So bringing this up on a variac is, I mean, maybe drop it down to, you can see it actually specs 120 VAC here. Bringing it down maybe to 100 volts would be acceptable, but a lot of these stuff you don't want to, oh yeah? You don't want to underpower it. You got the first 2 out there. There's one underneath the chassis. They're 1800 picofarads at 1600 volts. Let's go down to, so measuring well, I wouldn't call this accurate, but that's measuring a bit high. It's measuring a bit high. Let's check for leakage. Just go all the way up here. No leakage. Okay, that one, I'm going to say that one's good. Actually, let's do this. Let's go back to C1. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to just switch here to the other cap. Okay, here's the other cap. Well, they measure the same value. Let's check this one for leakage. No leakage. So those 2 are good. They test good. I soldered a pigtail on them there, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure both of them just to double check. So they are still good, because you know I heated them up. I just want to make sure. Seems like they are measuring on the high side though, but Al said that's okay. Here's the third one right here. I'll just heat up the solder pot and pop that one out. Check that one. What do we got here? Got a little disc. Man, everything is dirty in this. Cigaretteville. I guess while I'm in here, I could check all these little electrolytics with the ESR meter. There's a whole bunch of them in here. This does look like a semi-high hour set, so there's just what I'm seeing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 vertical output transformer. Probably doesn't have the failure rate of the tube sets because it's solid state and it's low voltage. 8. Let's pop this out and check it. Well, this one is measuring the same, and oh, that's good. See that? See it arcing there? No leakage. Okay, going through checking some of these electrolytics. They are all very good, except one. Which is this one right here, which is totally 100% open. It's 10 microfarad at 50 volts. Y'all think I should change it? Well, I'm in here. Be nice and change it before we power this up. I have no idea what it's for. I'm just testing them all. Well, after a half an hour of digging through capacitors, I can't believe I could not find a 10 microfarad at 50 volt capacitor. All I could find is a 15 at, the lighting's getting jacked up now. All I could find is a 15 at 50. I checked it, it measures good. So I went from a 10 to a 15. I left the 10 in here. Just, you know, confirmation that that needs to be replaced with the right part. It shouldn't make any difference. What this looks like is this looks like a filter for the horizontal sweep board. So it looks like the power comes in through this 1.8K resistor, and that's just a little filter to dump any noise off. So going up a little bit's not going to hurt anything. So I checked the rest of the capacitors. They all look okay. ESR wise, I don't know if they're leaky or shorted. I could measure that, I guess. Of course, the oil capacitor measures good. What I've noticed with those is they'll go bad after you run this thing for a day, then it'll go open. I have two of these sets. I just haven't, we started on one years ago and it could never get the color to work, but I need to get back into them. I have one of these with this style chassis, and I have one of the ones right after this with the upright chassis. It's party time. Okay. I have the 700 watt bulb here just as a current limiter in case something's shorted. It'll probably blow the circuit breaker first, but that's just so we don't blow something else up big time. I got the high voltage gauge. We only want to see 25 kilovolts here, something like that. So here we go. We're ready. There's no reason to variac this. It's going to voltage regulate. This is not like a tube set. So we're just going to right on 25 kilovolts. That looks happy. All of that drama for nothing. See that? Doesn't sound like there's any activity from the tuner. And let's see. There actually is some activity here. It's just very, very muted. So we'll come back and play with this later. I got other stuff to do. I got radios to work on right now. How about we take a minute and tear this microwave I found on the street down. Love the diodes that are in these things. You can make tube replacements, like damper tube replacements. I'm really not into cleaning up and restoring somebody else's nastacular food cooking system, so I'm not even interested in plugging it in. So inverter means it does not have the big power transformer that everybody makes cool stuff out of. It's got a little inverter, but it still has the high voltage doubler diode set up. At this point, I'm trying to use a convection oven to cook more rather than cooking food with 2 gigahertz RF radiation. That just kind of creepy, I don't know. But anyway, convenience. Give me convenience or give me death, right? Nice RF filter here. Look at this. We got 2 caps and a nice filter choke. Always a bunch of these interlock micro switches. The magnetron, which is the self-oscillating 2 gigahertz tube that nukes the food. Then here's the inverter. Then we got a fan right here. Then the little control Huygens Beimlers up front. So I'll get this gutted out and we'll take a look. So here's the inverter. Orange capacitors are all coated with the grease from somebody's nasty ass kitchen. There's the 2 diodes right there. This is microprocessor controlled inverter. Look at that. They must be able to make these things so damn cheap these days. Probably made in a dark factory by robots. Grody to the max. So here's the magnetron tube, and that's where the RF radiation squirts out that warms up the food. And as the name implies, it's got two magnets here and here. I don't quite understand how these work. It's some type of cavity, and it's a self-oscillating, self-resonating squaley Beimler, and it's got like the filament is between these two, and then it also takes a high voltage. So it's got a filament voltage here, and then between here and ground it has a high voltage, I don't know, 2000 volts. So it's a lot like a high voltage rectifier tube where it's just got 3 leads. Let's do some checks here. Well, the filament's not open on the magnetron. That's a good thing, even though it's going in the trash. Let's check the fuse here in the microwave. These fuses go open every once in a while. Nope. Fuse is good too. Probably worked. I bet this worked. Here's what we got for future something. Sort of smells like Mediterranean food. I think I'm gonna let it sit outside in the sun for a few weeks and kind of boil all that crap off. Seems to be working okay. It is an instant on set. But this is kind of working balanced in between 2 channels. All of these pots are very crusty, so I'm going to go through and clean those. Okay, let's have a look now. Now that I got all the controls cleaned, just a quick adjustment. That looks a lot better than a lot of stuff we see. So we have tint. It's about right there. That's a little soft. I think we could probably adjust, and the convergence is a little bit off. I think we could probably adjust. Well, I need a mirror. Okay, I got that sharpened up a little bit. The vertical is off a tiny bit. I'm not going to screw with that. Am I pretty well centered here? Because we gonna watch. No, boy, didn't want to do that. You had it. You screwed it up. Come on, sync. There you go. So what we'll do, I always get this question, so I always got to show it. You have your DTV converter box. This takes the over-the-air digital signal from the rabbit ears here. These are just rabbit ears. And it converts it to channel 3 analog that this can use. And I know that last time I did a video with this, there were comments about, oh, ATSC3 is taking over. And I know that probably is coming from that guy that likes to put his face on absolutely everything he does as his branding watermark. But if you're going to go and you're going to switch to a new over-the-air format and lose all of those viewers, that's not going to be very good for your advertising numbers, is it? So right now, I'm using the Leader NTSC generator for this. Not much to look at back here. Just that's about the only thing glowing, and you can see that these are the dark cathodes. See how dark these are? They don't light up the wall. That's why these CRTs last so long. You look at an old CRT, that thing looks like a flashlight. It's so bright. These, you just barely see them. So this is the dark cathode, and this lasts a lot longer than the old style. Anyway, we'll hook up the DTV converter box and we'll take a look at what the Finest has to offer. Well, the color killer is not working because the snow is colored, but we don't care about that. So let's see, we are on channel 3 here. What are we on here? We're on channel 3. Why is this snow working? Output to TV. Did I do something wrong? VHF. Okay, I had that on channel 4. And yet the TV is on channel 3. Okay, well, I'm not going to screw with that. We'll just switch that to channel 4. And we have ball game, very noisy ball game. With excessive color. I got to get off of this. This NFL stuff really has a...
Meeting you here. My husband is finding my skin very touchable.
Oh, here we go.
I do not object to that.
Oh, no, you don't. Oh!
Start with our skin softening body smoothing pre-treatment that melts away dull, dry skin.
With our new Ultra Body Repair treatment, you'll see your own instant transformation.
The very first time I used Crepe Erase was like, wow.
Wow.
Damn, it was like a difference.
You might expect to pay hundreds of dollars for results like these.
Oh,
But when you
wow.
go to this exclusive TV offer, you can save big. You won't pay $99 or $89 or even $79. For just $69.95, you'll get the complete new Crepe Erase Ultra system.
And wait until you hear this. Be one of the first 500 to order, and we'll send you this brand new breakthrough, the Ultra Smoothing Neck Repair, free. It's packed with TrueFirm Plus, peptides, and encapsulated retinol for a smoother looking neck you thought you'd never see again.
Encapsulate my décolleté.
Hey, it's our free gift to you. And order in the next 3 minutes, and you'll also receive this customer favorite, the luxurious 4-in-1 line smoothing capsules for your face, free.
All of this, a $143 value, is already an incredible
See the smearing?
$69.95. But smart shoppers who use promo code ULTRA will get an additional $20 off for the incredible low price of only $49.95.
I just love my skin now. I didn't love it before. I love it now.
With our 60-day money-back guarantee, you have an incredible 2 full months to see results on your own skin.
If you're not reveling in your younger looking soft,
This is a
sexy
crappy
skin,
picture.
just return the bottles. Even
Look, this looks like a bad CRT. Look at that.
wait to see what Crepe Erase Ultra
This
can do
looks
for you.
horrible.
Give a call or go online right now. Trust me, it's worth it.
Today's special offer is not available in any store and will not last. Order now and get free shipping. Don't wait.
Call 1-800-565-8815.
Or go to creperrace.com.
While Danny's creating the farm's garden, I'm finding out how the farm has helped nurture those who work on it.
Right, I think we could have a few minutes in the dry because it is pretty damp out there, isn't it? Mind you, you must be used to that by now, Mary.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I don't mind being outside in the rain because I love the farm. I love the fresh air. I love the fact that it's a little gem.
What kind of an area is the farm and the garden in?
Some people say the area is a little bit of a deprived area, but that's good because people who don't get to see farm animals and greenery can just have that little experience right on their doorstep.
Yeah, the kids get a lot out of it, definitely. I mean, that's one of the best things. If you're there in the daytime and you hear the kids coming.
For all of these bullets.
So what's happened is because we didn't plan ahead and ran out of classes.
One thing about these, and I probably need to rescan this one, but these things are slow.
11 to 3. Okay, now from a brand new restaurant to an LGBTQ-owned spot celebrating a quarter century in Rittenhouse Square.
You want to take a look at this?
Thanksgiving.
No, because I just like to stay in the city, you know, with my family and everything. And it's too expensive and it's too crazy out here.
But some folks decided to travel long distance, like from the Bay to LA. Now that things
I use the news because the news doesn't have copyright on it, and I can just let it go and play with the settings on the TV, and I don't have to worry about screwing with a bunch of cutting up and.
I don't even care. It's Prius too. Gas saver car.
I think it's fine. I mean, if you can afford it, then just go with it. Yeah, it doesn't stop me.
And the worst traffic today is expected to start this afternoon. In Cypress Park, Eric Resendez, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
All right, Eric, thank you for that report. And speaking of gas prices, here's a look at the current rates in Los Angeles County. Drivers paying on average $5 per gallon of regular gas. That's almost a dime cheaper than a week ago. And look, it's almost 50 cents cheaper than a month ago. Prices have continued to drop since the state switched to the winter blend.
And for those flying back today, it is a very busy day at LAX. This is a live look at the airport. The 105 seems to be moving pretty good at this hour.
That's a peak picture.
Across the country, the TSA
video
expects to screen
peaking.
nearly 3 million passengers by the end of the day. That would be the most in the agency's 20-plus year history. We will have a live report from LAX coming up on Eyewitness News at 5.
A massive effort continues in Tustin to investigate and mitigate reports of debris from the recent hangar fire there. The city says certified asbestos consultant crews continue to expand into the neighborhoods closest to the fire. The city says workers are literally crawling on their hands and knees, shoulder to shoulder, clearing every square foot of yards of homes, schools, parks, and even open fields. Meanwhile, the two schools closest to the hangar remain closed. Those students will be reporting to different schools in the district starting Wednesday.
A man is under arrest tonight accused of vandalizing an historic church in Irwindale.
The face.
36-year-old Martin Garcia was arrested on vandalism charges. He's accused of breaking into Our Lady of Guadalupe Mission earlier this week, shattering a glass window and ransacking the place. Court appearance now pending for the Southgate resident.
All right, it's time to get a first check of the forecast with Alex Cheney. How's it going, Alex?
Hey there. Things warmed up just a little bit today for Southern California, and there is a beautiful sunset happening right now. So let's take a look outside. This is the Malibu area right now. You can see some of those beautiful cirrus clouds out there combining with some of the cumulus, making for a really pretty picture. So we'll check back on that in just a moment. Today in Palmdale, incredibly cold, 53 degrees. This is just near today's afternoon high temperature. Got the Santa Ana wind.
So I don't like the way some of the faces look. It looks like a bad tube, but it very well might not be. I mean, right there it looks good. You notice no buzzing in the sound?
Okay, Alex, thank you. There is a high-profile.
See the white. Wow, someone named Young Thug is accused of a violent gang. Imagine that. No way.
You look like a responsible family guy. Looking for something with a little more...
Again, see how the face is blown out? Look at the faces.
Hurry in to lease a new 2023 all-electric.
There's also some ringing or something here.
Zero first month's payment and zero due at signing.
Partying in the pits makes me hungry. So I love meeting my girls for cocktails and apps. Now that's a good time at Good Times Cafe.
I mean, she looks okay. There's nothing...
Wait to hit the new Games Here Splash Bar. I just found my new favorite slot. Morongo. Good food, good fun, good times.
For everybody. Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed? Because no two people sleep the same. Only...
Put it in... I'm going to put it in service mode. Well, that was weird. Okay, I'm going to zoom in on that, and then I'm going to adjust it. Okay, that's very, very dark.
Live look outside this evening. Beautiful sunset there. Alex Cheney's up next. He's got our full AccuWeather forecast. Plus,
Let it go, let it go. Turn away and slam the door.
We just can't seem to let it go. We are marking 10 years of Frozen still to come.
NFC North foes meet again. DJ Moore and the Bears are on the hunt for a win. Can Joshua Dobbs and the Vikings continue their improbable run? Bears-Vikings on ABC.
Birria is here, and Del Taco has got that dip. Dip into Del Taco for the new shredded beef birria tacos and birria quesadilla, served with savory consomme for dipping. Say hello to Del Taco Bettermex.
I was adjusting the
The
green.
moment I loved our Subaru Outback most was the moment they walked away from it.
Mom! Oh, thank goodness.
And that's why our family will only drive a Subaru.
Subaru. More IIHS Top Safety Pick Plus awards than any other brand. Love. It's what makes Subaru, Subaru.
Lease a new 2024 Outback for $319 per month for 36 months during the 2023 Subaru Share the Love event.
Now is the perfect time to update your living room during the holiday event at Mathis Home. Shop hundreds of sofas starting at just $187.
You'll be here all day. Now, for the Delaware River, we're heading down the shore to make a day of it in Atlantic City.
Atlantic City in the summer starts and ends.
Come on, show me.
People are leaving villages for the cities.
Show me some flesh tones.
Spectacular. However you do the holidays, do it together in the Chevy that's right for you. The strong and capable Chevy Silverado, the award-winning Chevy Equinox.
Oh yes, award-winning.
This holiday season, do more together.
Award-winning Equinox, one of the biggest foaming turds on the road.
Silverado 1500 pickups, or get $5,250 total value on this Silverado with a Turbo Max engine.
Find new roads at your Southern California Chevy dealers.
Good things happen when you put good things together. Shredded beef birria ramen from Del Taco. An absolute flavor bomb with new
Flavor bomb.
Try birria ramen today and say hello to Del Taco Bettermex.
Howie Mandel live December 28th. Get tickets now. Morongo.
Talk to us on Instagram on ABC7LA. Swipe for more, tap for new, and let us hear you with the hashtag ABC7Eyewitness. Your news at ABC7LA on Instagram.
Drone video capturing the holiday spirit of a neighborhood in Magna, Utah, a suburb of Salt Lake City. Take a look at how beautiful it is. Just about every home on that block adorned with holiday lights and decorations. The neighborhood display has become so popular over the years that people flock from other neighborhoods to see what has become known as Christmas Street.
Candy Cane Lane, Utah, I guess. The holiday shopping season kicking into high gear. Tomorrow is Cyber Monday, the biggest online shopping day of the year.
ABC's Alex Christoforous has a look at the top deals up for grabs.
It's round 2 for consumers ready to let their fingers do the holiday shopping.
Spin that.
Cyber Monday is a 2 to 3 day affair depending on the
Rack
store.
that
Some
credit
stores
card
running
debt
their
up.
deals straight through the entire weekend.
Like Amazon extending its Black Friday deals right through Cyber
I don't know. It's
Monday on
okay.
everything from toys
It's
to
not
tech,
great, though.
including Amazon's Echo Dot, which was $50.
Oh,
now
spy
just
on me, Daddy.
$2.99.
Listen to everything I say in my
Target, Best Buy,
house.
and Walmart all kicking off their Cyber Monday deals today. Walmart Plus members gaining access to online deals 3 hours early at 4 p.m. Eastern, like saving over $500 on these Henkel kitchen knives. Target's offering up to 50% off thousands of items like this KitchenAid stand mixer on sale for $250. That's a $200 savings. And at Best Buy, TVs, laptops, and cameras are on sale, including $100 off this GoPro Hero 12. But it's not just home appliances and tech.
Cyber Monday is also gaining a reputation for great fashion and beauty deals.
Ulta and Sephora slashing prices up to 50% on makeup, skincare, and fragrances starting Monday. So far, the holiday shopping season is off to a strong start, much of it happening online. Consumers spent a record $9.8 billion online on Black Friday, up 7.5% from last year, and they're expected to spend a record $12 billion on Cyber Monday. But before you click checkout, experts say be sure to comparison shop.
Remember when people used to set up tents and stuff 3 days ahead of time for Black Friday? Now, when they open the doors, hardly anyone even shows up. It's like the party that's completely died and left. It's just, it's over.
Unsolicited pop-ups and links, and if you get an email or text asking you to update your payment method or shipping address, we'll contact the retailer directly to make sure that request is legitimate.
I feel like Cyber Monday has kind of stretched back into Black Friday.
Right,
But you see
agreed.
Cyber Monday deals happening all weekend long.
Yeah.
Monday just marks the end of the deal, right?
Yeah.
We'll take it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We'll
How
take
much
it.
money do we have left, though? I mean,
4-day week,
enough.
4-day weekend.
And you think about it, December starts this week coming up here. We're already there. We're already to the month of December. It's just flown right by. I always feel like it's September. You blink and it's Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And hey, we're already moving into December.
Anyway, it works pretty good. What did I change? One capacitor in it. I did not check the electrolytics on top of the board. It could very easily have a bad one on top, on one of those little modules. Got a bad connection here. So I think we can wrap this up, and interesting video, something very different. But yeah, it has good color, good greens. Maybe it's just a matter of running it a while, and I would definitely change those 3 safety capacitors with the Panasonic, and I would go through and check all the electrolytics on all the top of the boards and probably more thoroughly check the set out. This is getting kind of warm. I would change this. These do not usually get warm at all. This should be cold. This is cool. This is cold. This one is cold. Cold to the touch. This one is slightly warm. I would change that. I don't think that's good. And I bet you that will fail in short order. Horizontal output is very cool. Could take a look at this thing with the thermal camera. I don't really see a need to do that though. Yeah, I think we can call this a wrap. Good TV. I just noticed this while I was doing the thermal, but this is the convergence assembly, and look at the tin whiskers. Just on the metal. It's very hard to hold this still, but look at how this metal is whiskering. Look at that. And that is just the convergence assembly. That is such a trip. So you are familiar with this chassis?
I'm real familiar with those chassis and the Magnavoxes that had those safety capacitors.
And so what's the deal with this?
Well, what they did was they made the emitter current, or the emitter circuit of the horizontal output transistor, travel through the end cap of the capacitor. And they also made the collector travel through the end cap of the capacitor. In other words, there's two wires on each end, and it's a DC circuit, like a fuse on each end of the capacitor. And their idea was that if the capacitor opened up, it was to open up the DC path to the horizontal output transistor, and it would shut the high voltage down. Well, it did just the opposite. Of course. It was a government regulation. At any rate, so before that, this was about 1974 and on down, they were using multiple disc capacitors to get to a certain value. And what are the chances of of all 4 or 5 disc capacitors opening up at the same time? It just doesn't happen. That was the best method. So on those safety capacitors, the lower the value you go, the higher the voltage goes. Without the capacitor, the high voltage goes way up to 70, 80, maybe more kV. And the high voltage jumps right through the glass from the gun to the convergence yoke and cuts the neck right off the tube. And it happened both in Magnavox and Zenith, and I wouldn't turn one on with one of those capacitors in there for anything. They're made out of a white ceramic. They look like those older paper white ceramic capacitors from some of the old radios, and some of the Zeniths, tube-type Zeniths had them in there. And they're made by National Radionic. But like I said, they did exactly what they were designed not to do. And you can use high voltage disc capacitors in place of them. Just make sure that you add up to the value that's marked on the capacitor. That value or a little higher in value. If it's a 0.0015, a 0.0016 will work. But if you wind up with 0.0014, your high voltage is going to be higher, and your width is going to be shorter on the screen. And I wouldn't do that. I'd go higher in value, but not by a great amount. You aren't going to hurt anything if you go a little higher in value. It'll just make the picture whiter and the high voltage lower.
What other failures are common in this chassis?
Color crystal and the color demod IC. There's a video driver transistor. I think it's PNP. It's before the video output tube, or it's the one that drives the three color output transistors, and that is usually made with the dome.
So these look like two separate capacitors.
Okay, yeah. Then they're probably just getting up to the value they need. If those are white ceramic capacitors, they're made by National Radionic. A lot of them were. And the end caps that had the glue or whatever, or wax, whatever they used, you had some of those in your hot wax and they pulled apart. But all they do is put the wires in a kind of a spiral, and they lean them up against the foil roll, and then they dump whatever material they're using to cover the end of the capacitor. And that pulls away from the capacitor goes out of circuit, and the high voltage goes sky high because of it. That's a tuned circuit, and that capacitor is placed right between the collector of the horizontal output transistor and ground. So without one of those capacitors, or without that capacitor, the spike is much higher, and the tripler sees that spike and multiplies it. And I've seen this happen right in front of me. I was on a Magnavox, and this is the first time I plugged the set in and turned it on, and it chopped the picture tube neck right off, right in front of me, instantly, and blew a few modules from the high voltage arc. So I don't take chances on those capacitors. If they had used disc capacitors, what's the chance of a disc ever going open? It just doesn't happen. They burn up and blow the circuit breaker. That's what they were using before the government made them use these so-called safety capacitors.
All right, I think I'm not going to plug this in.
I wouldn't. not until you can find something to use instead of those capacitors, because if one happened to be open, you could lose the CRT for no reason.